Over the past few weeks, we've been looking at the words of Jesus in the context of Matthew chapter 11, the end of Matthew chapter 11, and we've been kind of looking at how he sent the disciples out in chapter 10, and if you have your Bibles, I encourage you, go ahead and open your Bible to Matthew chapter 11. We're going to jump around to 10 and a few other places, but, just for, in this series, kind of the main text that we're looking at and we're drawing from is Matthew 11, the end of the chapter, verses 28. It starts and says this, "Then Jesus said, 'Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest.'" That's powerful words right there. He says, "Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you," or your translation may say, "learn from me, because I'm humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and my burden that I give you is light." I don't know about you, but the past couple weeks, the past couple messages that we've had, that Pastor Brandon's been giving, has not necessarily felt that light. It's okay to admit that. He would be fine with that too. We've talked about this. It's not necessarily been the easiest to swallow. And I just want to assure you today, I'm here, and I have more of the same. Isn't that encouraging? So, no, this is so good, because I got to thinking about it. The words that Jesus spoke to his disciples, while he was kind of hard on them sometimes, but he was real. He wasn't sugarcoating it. He wasn't trying to fluff it all up and make it sound easy. He was just real because he loved them. And I got to think about this is kind of the same way in some ways that I've tried to raise my children, in knowing that they're getting older, and I've got 2 young adult children now, and before they left off for college, I was like, there were some things that I really wanted to share with them. There's things that lessons that I wanted to kind of impart to them. There's things that I just wanted to make sure they knew a few things before they walked out underneath the parental covering and protection. And I didn't do that to depress them, although some of it did. I did it because I love them, right? I wanted to prepare them. I didn't want anything to take them off guard. I had to tell them things like, hey, you're going to run into people who don't think the same way that you do. You're going to run into people that they're going to be pretty dogmatic about the way that they think and believe, and they're going to kind of come after you. You're going to meet people who are going to try to use you, take advantage of you. You're going to run into people, and the list goes on because we know, right? But I love them. And I feel the same, I just get the sense of the same heart of Jesus when he's talking to his disciples. He just loves them so much. He wants to prepare them. He wants to make sure that they know what they're walking into. And really, he never called the disciples into comfort, did he? He just called them to follow him. In Matthew chapter 10, or a little bit earlier, he sends out his disciples not with the promise of safety and ease, right? But it was more warnings of hardship. It was this preparing of what is to come. Verse 16 of chapter 10, he says, "Look, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves." Gee, thanks, Jesus. That sounds super fun. Sheep among wolves. Do you know what wolves do to sheep? He tells them things like, you're going to be persecuted. You're going to be hated. You're going to be betrayed by your family. Yet in the same breath, verse 19, he says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The call of Jesus has always been a call beyond comfort. Before Jesus ever sent his disciples out, he made it clear that following him, what it really meant. In Matthew chapter 18 even, there's a time that somebody comes up to him and says, hey, I want to follow you. It's Matthew 8 maybe. He says, then one of the teachers of religious law said to him, said, "Teacher, I'll follow you wherever you go. Wherever you go, I will follow you." And Jesus replied, "Okay, but foxes have dens to live in. Birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to even lay his head." He's like, all right, you really want to follow me? Understand, it's not always going to be comfortable. Jesus' words here was to really strip away the illusion of ease and comfort that was going to come. That even he, the Son of God, walked a path of discomfort and even complete dependence. And to follow him is to share in that same willingness to go wherever he leads, even if it costs us our security or our comfort. We live in a world, we live in a world that prizes convenience, don't we? Where faith is often shaped by our preference rather than obedience. I just don't feel like it. But Jesus invites us, he really calls us to something much deeper. Something kind of costly, but something that will stretch us and transform us. It's a call beyond comfort, but into something much deeper. So there's a few things I want to share this morning, this call beyond comfort. What is he calling us to? The first one is a call to obedience. A call to obedience. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 27, he says, "What I tell you now in darkness, shout abroad when daybreak comes. What I whisper in your ear, shout from the housetops for all to hear." This is a call to courage, okay? True discipleship means declaring what Jesus has spoken to us, even when it costs us something, even when it costs us our reputation, our safety, our comfort. Obedience to Jesus often pulls us into uncomfortable positions, doesn't it? I mean, think about it, to sometimes to have to speak truth when silence would be way easier. To forgive, to really forgive when bitterness feels justified. To give generously when it would be so much easier just to hold back. Sharing a message about living outside of our comfort when you really don't like to speak in front of people. Jesus did not promise that following him would be easy, only that it'd be worth it. It would be worth it. Matthew 10, verse 39, he says, "If you cling to your life, you'll lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find it." The same words are kind of paralleled in Luke chapter 9, verses 23. He says, then he spoke to the crowd. He said, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. Take up your cross daily and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you'll lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it." And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world, but are yourself lost and destroyed? The call to obedience actually leads to life. The next is a call to dependence. A call to dependence. When Jesus sent out his disciples, he told them, "Don't take anything with you for the journey." Matthew chapter 10, back up there, verse 9. He says, "Don't take any money in your money belts, or no gold, no silver, not even copper coins. Don't carry a traveler's bag with a change of clothes or sandals or even a walking stick." Now, why? Why would he say that? Discipleship demands dependence. The way of Jesus is not this self-sufficiency, but more surrender. He calls us to trust in God's provision, not our own plans. It's a reminder that God, He's not asking for your confidence in your own abilities or your own strength, right? He's asking you to put your faith in His. Now, I'm a planner. I'm a planner with a capital P, all right? We'd take a trip with the kids when they were young. I had it all mapped out. I had every bag packed. I had more stuff. The car was full. We didn't touch half of it, really. But I was prepared for whatever was going to come. I think some of y'all probably relate. If it was going to happen, I'd already thought about it 20 different ways, and I was ready. Jesus said, don't pack heavy, but pack light. It wasn't a poor planning strategy, okay? It's a trusting exercise. We have a good Father who's always prepared. Always prepared. He knows what's coming. He knows what He's called us to. Nothing's going to take Him by surprise. He's asking for us to trust. See, so oftentimes we weigh ourselves down when we just try to carry everything. We try to plan for every possible thing to go wrong, really. But that's not my job. That's not your job. It's the Father's. And we have a good Father. Amen? Francis Chan writes this in one of his books, I believe it's Crazy Love. He said, God doesn't call us to be comfortable. He calls us to trust Him so completely that we are unafraid to put ourselves in situations where we will be in trouble if God doesn't come through. See, it's all about who are we trusting? Are we trusting truly and having that dependence on God? But the thing is, dependence on somebody else often is super uncomfortable, isn't it? But it's the place that we have to truly get to in order to really discover His faithfulness. When we let go and trust that God loves you, that God knows what's coming, He's prepared you, He's going to prepare you. If you don't feel prepared, He's going to be there for you. We can step out in that complete trust and dependence on Him. The next thing is a call to allegiance. Sometimes costly allegiance. Jesus made it very clear that loyalty to Him must come before every other allegiance. Verse 37, chapter 10 there. It says, if you love your father or mother more than you love me, you are not worthy of being mine. Or if you love your son or daughter more than me, you're not worthy of being mine. Sounds really, really tough to swallow. And this is not a call to neglect our families, but really to order our love correctly. To place Christ above all else. He's not looking for partial devotion. Again, goes back to complete surrender. Dietrich Bonhoeffer wrote this in The Cost of Discipleship. He says, when Christ calls a man, He bids him to come and die. To come and die. To let go. Let go of those things that we often hold so dear. Discipleship, it means carrying a cross, right? Discipleship means carrying a cross, not warming a pew or a chair. The cross isn't a symbol of comfort. No, it was an instrument of death, right? And yet, interestingly enough, it's the path that leads to life. You ever think about that? Again, what did Jesus say? Verse 38. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you're not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you're going to lose it. How often do we cling to our own life? How often do we cling to our own comforts? How often do we cling to our own security, our own independence? And while we feel like we're gaining something by clinging to all these things, it is an illusion. Because at the end of the day, how often do we still feel lost, confused, completely out of control, and there's no life? It's completely contrary to what Jesus is telling us. He's saying, let it go and you will find life. Let it go and watch what the Father's going to do for you. Let it go. The next thing is a call to rest. Think about that. Jesus calls us to rest through our surrender. After describing the cost of discipleship in Matthew chapter 10, we go to Matthew chapter 11, and he says something quite astonishing, doesn't he? We read it at the beginning of the message. Jesus said, come to me, all. Say all. All of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens. Let's take a poll real quick. Anybody feel heavy or burdened? Be honest. It's okay. Summersville, hands up, please. We all at some point feel so heavy, so burdened, so weighed down. And Jesus says, I kind of feel like he says, yeah, I know. Come to me. Come to me. It's an invitation. Come to me and I will give you rest. Jesus, he's saying, yeah, I know. I know the road's hard. But I'm going to walk with you. How many of you have your runners? I know we got a few runners in here, right? Speed walkers? Any speed walkers? Those mall lappers, okay, you know. Isn't it easier to push through a 4-mile run if you got somebody by your side? I don't know what it is about having somebody running with you or walking with you or beside you during a difficult whatever it is. Having somebody with you changes. It changes things up here. It changes things in here. And so to know that, hey, I got somebody with me, I'm going to push a little bit more. I can get through this a little bit better. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to stay full of hope. This is what Jesus is saying. It's like, yeah, I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to be with you. I'm right with you. I'm right beside you. Let's go. He adds this. He says, take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you. Because I'm humble, gentle at heart. And you'll find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden that I give is light. This is a single invitation that Jesus shows us the secret to discipleship. That rest doesn't come from avoiding the burden, but from sharing it with Him. But we have to be willing to surrender. When we take His yoke, we're not escaping the cost, but we're learning how to carry it in his strength, not my own. To follow Jesus is to learn from him. It's to learn from him, to let him teach us how to live, how to endure, how to trust the Father, even when the road is tough. Is this not the life that we saw Jesus walking and living? He knows. He knows. So, can you see here maybe how we're really being called way beyond comfort, right? The comfortable disciple never changes the world, never changes his home, never changes his community. The comfortable disciple, I'm really not sure what they do. Because we've seen in the past how the church grows, not through ease, but rather it grows through sacrifice, through persecution. And there's this word again, surrender. Letting go of the things that we think, letting go of the things that we can do, letting go of everything, right? To give as freely as you have received, Jesus said in Matthew 10:8. In verse 38, he says, if you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you're not worthy of being mine. In verse 28, it says, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, I will give you rest. That's chapter 11. He follows it up, take my yoke upon you, let me teach you. Summing all of this up, Jesus says, let me teach you how to do all these things. They were never meant to be easy, but they were never really meant for us to do on our own anyway. He's inviting us into his pattern of life, a life that embraced the will of the Father above all else. Let me teach you how to live, how to suffer well. Again, how to trust the Father. To learn from Jesus means that we have to walk in his steps. To learn gentleness in a harsh world. To learn humility in a proud world. To learn how to endure when we are weary. It's to discover that the path of surrender does not lead to loss, but to life. To life. Again, Francis Chan wrote, Jesus, he wants all or nothing. The thought of a person calling himself a Christian without being a devoted follower to Christ is kind of absurd, because that's exactly what the word Christian means, a Christ follower. There's danger. There's danger in a comfortable faith. Listen, there is danger in a comfortable faith because we are succeeding at everything else except following Jesus. So today, can we maybe leave behind the illusion that discipleship is about comfort? Maybe learn what it means to take up our cross, to learn from Jesus, to find him with deep rest, and that deep rest that comes from knowing who is carrying us. That we don't have to carry those burdens. We don't have to carry those weights. The words of Jesus when he goes and he says, hey, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out. I'm sending you out. And here are things to expect. It's not necessarily going to be easy. Words like that, they shouldn't scare us. They shouldn't intimidate us if we know who Jesus is. If we see the life that he lived, if we see the call to always be there to teach us. And he says, take my yoke. Not an egg yolk, right? But that big wooden contraption that they would strap on oxen to plow the fields. The world yoke, that's heavy. I said, mine's not heavy. I always thought that was an interesting idea, because I always thought, well, must be because maybe it's made out of styrofoam or something. I don't know. It's like, but I'm still carrying the yoke. You want me to put the yoke on, but who really is doing the heavy lifting? Can you save yourself? Who did that? Jesus already did the heavy lifting. He's like, yeah, come on, take my yoke. I've got it. I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to carry the weight. I've already taken care of it. So can we begin? Let go of some of the comfort that we think we are due. To be a Christ follower, to be a true disciple of Christ means to lay it all down and to follow his way. And can I just say, I think for a lot of us, the reason why we don't do that well, especially in America, we have an issue with this, is because we don't believe it. We don't believe it's possible. We simply just don't believe that it's possible to die to self, to lay things down, and to truly follow after him. We just don't think it's possible. There's an illusion there. And truly, we've been disillusioned. Are we going to take him at his word? Or not? Because really, there's only two options. We either trust him or we don't. Told you it's going to be a light one. I'd love to stand here before you and tell you that I've lived this to a T. But I haven't. I've struggled the same way each and every one of you have. I'm selfish. I like my own time. I like my own things. I like to do things the way I want to do it. But I've learned, and I'm still learning, his way is always better. His way is always better. And if I don't understand something, it's okay. I can go to him with it. I can go say, God, this makes no sense. Why are you asking me to do this? Why does this have to be so difficult? Why? You know what? None of those questions scare him. They don't bother him. Actually, I really feel like he wants us to ask those questions because of right here, the words of Jesus said, let me teach you. Let me teach you. Learn from me. How do you learn unless you ask questions? So we often walk through life faking it because we're afraid to ask questions. We're afraid to let somebody know that we don't have it all together. Listen, that's just still clinging to our comfort and our security. To be a Christ follower means to follow Christ. Good times, bad times, all times. And I think some of the reason why messages like this in the past we had have been so heavy is because, again, we're not seeing them in the proper light. We're not seeing them as an invitation to live. We see it as weight to carry. So if you're carrying the weight and these messages have been heavy and pulling you down, I encourage you today, ask God why. Simply just say, God, why is this so heavy? Why is this hitting me so hard? But be ready for an answer. And I don't know what your answer might be. But I know the call that He has is to come and learn from me. And that's a promise. Let's take a moment. I want you to bow your heads. I want you to ask that question. Just you and God. Ask the question. Maybe, what do we value? What do you value? Let's make it really personal. What do you value? Holiday season's coming up, and talk of Christmas gifts and all these things. We're all looking for good deals. Just that right gift, that right present, or maybe even something for yourself. When we find a deal, when we find, it's on sale, I'm willing to pay that price. That means we value it. How much do you value your relationship with Jesus? Jesus tells a parable. I believe it's Matthew 13, somewhere around there. A man who found treasure in a field. He went and sold everything he had to buy the field so that he could have that treasure. He must have valued that a lot. I think for a lot of us, we've kind of got our value system kind of out of whack when it comes to our relationship with Jesus. To give up everything to follow Him. Some of you might be thinking that's just too high a price. Okay. Then that's what you need to go and talk to God about. Because let me just tell you, God didn't spare anything for you. He gave His Son. He gave His Son. Jesus' love kept Him on that cross because of you. I want us to find life, okay? I want our church to be full of life. And that life can only truly be found when we surrender our lives.